Hey everyone, I'm Matt,
And I'm Zach.
and today we are talking about how YouTube affects you as a product owner.
Yeah.
This is WP Product Talk, a place where every week we bring you insights, product marketing, business management and growth, customer experience, product development, and more. It's your go-to podcast for WordPress product owners by WordPress product owners. And now, enjoy the show. Yeah, so happy for everybody to be here. I wanted to actually kick off before we jump into the subject on a couple little highlights. We've been changing things up a little bit. If you didn't know, we actually do have a website that you all should check out. And there you'll see that we have a new announcement that's talking about season 3 of WP Product Talk.
Matt,
And
what's the website?
I was like multitasking. I just put it up on the screen there, wpproducttalk.com. And go there, check it out. You'll see our blog post talking about season 3. The way I've been thinking about it is our first season was Twitter Spaces. We were on Twitter Spaces, and we moved over eventually to YouTube. And all of last year, we've been like kind of developing our style and our techniques and things like that. And so all of last year was a big evolution of what we do and who we are. And then this year we're kind of kicking off a little bit different rhythm. I wanted to break things up into like 6 or 8 week chunks so that we have some time to breathe, a little bit of time to coordinate our next season and things like that. It also gives us this great opportunity to announce a whole season at a time with all of the speakers and things like that. So that's what you'll see in that blog post announcement there. So I'm excited about this new setup. Excited to give me and our co-hosts a little bit of breathing space in between times and things like that. So that's one of the big ones. The other big one is that we just launched a new, I'm going to call it a Twitter profile or an X profile, whatever you want to call it. um, and you should go check it out. I've been really happy that within a very short amount of time, I misspelled it. Oh my gosh, I misspelled it. No. We actually are up to, what is it now? 89 followers within less than 24 hours over there. And I'm hoping that during the show, we might cross the 100 mark. So if you're watching us, head over to, hold on, there it is. Show. There we go. I said twitter.com, whatever, x.com, whatever, WP Product Talk, and give us a follow over there as well. So enough of all that fun stuff. But I'm excited to talk about YouTube and products. Zach, what's your take?
Yeah. So when you're marketing your product, it's so easy to just get focusing on your website because I'm a web developer. I know HTML. It's so easy to do compared to YouTube, which is such an important marketing channel that can feel so daunting to tackle. And it's important to have a strategy for this and to learn more about how to get into YouTube and what to do. We invited Jamie Marsland to help us navigate all of this. So welcome, Jamie.
Hi, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man.
Good to
Yeah,
see you.
Jamie, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Excuse me. So I'm Jamie Marsland. I run a company called Poodle Press. We've been going for about 13 years in the WordPress space. We are a WordPress plugin business and a training business, focused mainly these days in the plugin business on Gutenberg type plugins. And then recently, over the past 2.5, 3 years, I guess I've been focusing on YouTube to try and grow my YouTube channel. And so now I'm about 20,000 YouTube subscribers, just past that over Christmas. And it's going pretty well.
Excellent.
Congratulations on that milestone.
That's a big milestone. That was
Yeah.
awesome. And it feels like you got there in a relatively quick amount of time. It was like, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, you had 10,000, I feel like.
Yeah, it speeded up towards the latter half of last year. So the traction's I think you find this with YouTube. It's a slow build, and then it starts to accelerate. You reach certain plateaus, and it starts to accelerate. So there are dips in that process where you feel like you're not getting anywhere, and then, I mean, we might talk about this, but consistency is so important. If you're consistent, you'll find that impetus will carry on, and that seems to be what's happening at the moment.
Yeah. So would you say that the way that works is the algorithm changes and boosts you more if you're consistent? Like what other reasons are there for you growing so rapidly?
I think consistency and growing that audience. The algorithm's quite complex, but I think what they're trying to do is push content to people that the content's relevant for those people. So the more, and of course, the more you do of this stuff, the more you get better at it. I mean, that's a key thing. I try and do about 2 videos a week on average, and just that sort of process of going through that, it's a learning by fire exercise with YouTube. It's fairly harsh environment to learn in. You learn very, very quickly what works and what doesn't work. So you get better at the craft. And I've probably learned more in 2 years. It's the sort of steepest learning curve that I've ever gone through, really, in terms of the amount of learning you have to go through for YouTube to do it semi-successfully. And just having that consistency kind of forces you to do that. So that was kind of one of the golden rules of my YouTube, trying to be consistent with it.
Love it.
Why would you say that YouTube is a harsh environment?
because you get instant feedback. So from simply you might get you see with YouTube in your stats, you see how long people are spending on watching your video. You see exactly when people are dropping off your videos. You see the number of people that are and disliking your videos. You've obviously got the comments, but the metrics are kind of like there's no hiding away from the metrics on YouTube. So you get fantastic feedback. It's not subjective. It's just, well, those are the stats, and it's really, really granular on YouTube. So you can see what works and what doesn't work, and when it doesn't work, and what people don't like. So you kind of learn by fire. That's what I mean by that. Really, you learn very quickly.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've always been really impressed with how detailed and helpful the YouTube analytics are, especially in contrast sometimes to Google Analytics themselves, which are supposed to be like so robust and everything. But the YouTube ones are really, really powerful.
Yeah, and part of the challenge is to be aware of those stats, but not be too obsessed by them, because that's part of the mental challenge of YouTube, which a lot of people struggle with, because you do see these stats. So it's quite hard to keep going at certain times, because when you publish a video, when you hit publish, it's quite a nerve-wracking experience.
Yep.
And do you have examples of where you thought like, okay, I'm going to add this new feature to my videos and it's going to really kill, it's going to go great, and then you release it and you saw people like just drop off watching?
Yeah, I think when I've tried to be clever and do very creative sort of when I haven't got to the point quickly enough. So when production values have become more important than the information I'm trying to purvey. So that's a real lesson, is get to the point. I try and be very disciplined about editing, so I'm not wasting people's time. So I'm not verbose. I think that's one of the good things about my videos, is I do try and get the information across I'm obsessed about getting the information across in as short a space of time as possible, really. And it's a lot of my thinking goes into that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to, we've done a couple episodes recently that are related. We recently had Kevin Geary on, and he said something really similar. He said that in his YouTube videos now, he doesn't even say hi. He just like, it starts and he's just like, today we're talking about this thing. Yeah. And he had said that the day that we launched our new introduction that you saw earlier today. And I was like, oh man, I'm taking like way too long just to be like, this is WP Product Talk.
Yeah, because nobody cares about that. They really anti-care about that. And you'll see the drop off in the YouTube stat. So you can spend a long time having a nice introduction, but you'll see people fall off. So the hook, I have a framework now with my YouTube videos, which is, hook, and then it's quite a disciplined framework. Hopefully you're not aware of what's going on. But there is a process in terms of a big hook to start with. and then pay that off, and then following along. So it's not, because a lot of my videos are tutorial videos, but they would be entirely different if I was creating videos for, let's say, the Learn WordPress website.
Totally.
Proper. I'm not saying mine aren't proper video tutorials, but they are. There are different. YouTube is a completely different medium to a learning management system. It's when you're putting a video on YouTube, you're competing against somebody who's made a camping video, or somebody's done a golfing video. That's the people you're competing against. So it's not the same environment at all. So I try and think about that a lot with my videos, really.
Oh, absolutely. I think our challenge is that we're thinking of this primarily as a podcast, honestly. Like this show is more primarily a podcast and kind of secondarily a YouTube thing. But it's actually not totally true. Like, I think we get still the majority of our views come from YouTube right now.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Compared to the podcast channels currently, but the podcast stuff is relatively recent. So that whole like long intro thing was because I was thinking podcast wise. That's what like every podcast does. They always have this like short little like 20-30 second intro to what the podcast is. Whereas the YouTube videos never do that. So how can I have my cake and eat it too? I'm not totally sure. Unless
maybe
production stuff. So.
Maybe you guys need a big hook, a big bold bad hook at the start of the each video of what people are why they should watch this next 45 minutes of stuff. What's coming?
I'm so glad you're here, Jamie, because really all we're going to do is have you tell us what we need to do better.
I see that a lot with podcast videos where they're very they're really great content, but they're not hooking people at the start. It's such an easy thing to be doing.
You mentioned, Jamie, that you have a structure to your videos, and I was wondering if you could talk more about your approach to making these videos. Do you have a script? Do you have an outline? I'd love to learn more. Like for the product owner that's trying to say like, okay, I'm gonna get on YouTube. I'm gonna do it this time. All I need is, and like, what's your suggestion for like how you structure getting it from idea to a video on YouTube?
Yeah. So I kind of want to zoom out a little bit, because the videos I'm producing aren't around my products.
Right.
That's the first thing I should probably say. So they're not focused on the stuff I'm selling. So the audience I've built, a lot of them, I mean, there are tangible benefits for why I've created a YouTube channel, which are, there's revenue at the end of it. But most of the content I'm producing isn't around my products at all. It's trying to create helpful content for people so they can build websites. But in terms of my processes, I have to be excited about it to start with. So it has to be something that I think people are going to be interested and excited about. And then I always start with the thumbnail and the title. And if I can't create a good title and thumbnail, I know I haven't got a video.
I love that.
So that's kind of I have done that occasionally where I haven't done that, where I've come up with a technical solution which I thought has been interesting, but because I haven't done the kind of the piece before, it's never really worked as well. Whereas if you focus the idea and creating a thumbnail and a title focuses your idea, I think it's a good creative workflow to go through. So I use Canva for all my thumbnails now, and it's where I do a lot of my idea generation as well. And I have loads that I'll never use, but I use it as kind of a visual place where I create all these. I've got like 200 on the go at the moment, where I try and create the thumbnail and the title. And I know then if I can create the thumbnail and the title, there you go. There's my latest AB. I find it a really useful place to try and find out whether I think that video is going to be interesting to people. And I use Twitter to test a lot of this stuff out as well, by the way. This is why I'm putting these thumbnails on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right? It does a couple of things, right? It tells people that I've got a new video coming out. I get some feedback, and it tells people I'm on YouTube. So it's quite a cool platform. And it also Twitter's a great way you can test ideas before you make a video. I do a lot of that, where I'll have an idea for a video and I put it on Twitter, and if it gets a lot of traction, then I probably think I know I've got a video that's going to get some traction if I created it.
So you've got a thumbnail, you've got a title.
Yeah.
Where does it go from there?
And then that'll give me the hook, probably the thumbnail. I know the title's going to be the big hook, and getting a good hook is an art in itself, and you get better at that as you go along, because there's a balance between a hook and not being too clickbaity. So I'm often quite clickbaity, but I hope when I create the video, there's going to be a payoff that I'm actually going to do what I say. You have to do what you're going to say in the video. So the intro of the video will be telling people why they're going to watch this video, what they're going to get out of it. Pretty short and sharp. And then I get into kind of paying off the hook fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And then you might put some other hooks along the video as well, right? So there's another hook and another hook and another payoff and another payoff. So it's quite a process. And I'm getting better at this stuff. So it's not just here's how to do a thing. There is quite a lot of stuff that's going on under the bonnet to create some useful, interesting content. There's a lot of dimensions to it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell too, because your videos, I feel, are really polished and well done. It's clear to me just from the little video editing skills that I have that you put a lot of work into it. So
yeah, but I try and focus more on they're not. I try and put more focus on the writing, the outlines. I've written a few scripts, but generally I'm fairly decent at speaking to the camera, so I generally don't have to word. I'm generally better at just thinking of words rather than having to script everything. So I definitely don't do that because I'm okay with talking to camera. So I try and focus more on the content ideas than the sort of production values is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
For sure.
For those humans who may not be perfect at speaking to the camera, hello. Whenever I record a video, my mind just goes blank, and I find that I mumble and then I speak too quickly, and then when I have to edit the video down, it takes forever to make something that sounds like a good sentence. But then if you listen to the sentence, it gets, and you use like Descript. When I use Descript to like chop up, get rid of the stop words and make it a sentence that actually makes sense, I sound like a computer because there's so many different breakpoints that it's like so many edit points. For somebody who's not good at just speaking contemporaneously, sounds like a script might be a good idea.
Yeah, a script is a good idea, and there's some cool auto prompters that you can get now to pretty decent. I've just bought one actually, which is an Elgato prompter. It's called.
I saw that,
which is a cool, that's a cool device.
Yeah, they had been really expensive and kind of hard to configure with your phone, but now it seems like they've gotten a little cheaper. And
so I think but I also think the more you do this stuff, the easier it gets to speak naturally to camera without lots of ums and ahs. So you can lower the, it's quite interesting when you look at my timeline, when I try not to and ah at all these days, but when I do, my ums are often, in terms of the sound wave, they're often the loudest bit of the sentence, which is probably common to a lot of people.
Interesting.
So you just get better at it, right? If you do 2 videos a week and they're taking half a day to make each video, at least, you just get better at the feeling natural speaking to a camera as if it's a smiling person. I always imagine it's Matt I'm talking to anyway, so that helps.
Well, I hope not too much, because I do tend to rib you quite a bit. But here we don't really have a script. We do have a script, but we don't really follow a script. We follow a format, is what I think of. And we have been off format this whole time, which is fun and fine. But I want to get on format super quick. So for our audience, our WordPress product owners out there who are thinking about YouTube, thinking about doing a podcast, thinking about doing a show, thinking about doing tutorials, thinking about doing their product, then all of a sudden finding themselves on YouTube like Jamie has. Why does this whole subject matter at all? Who cares? What's so important about it? Zach, what's your take?
Well, Google's the #1 visited website in the world, and YouTube is the #2. And in the US, 62% of users access YouTube every day. and they spend an average of 19 minutes a day on YouTube. So this is a lot of attention that if you are not making YouTube videos, you are losing out on as a product owner. But they're also integrated into Google search results, so they're important for SEO. And I imagine AI is scraping videos these days. So like, you got to be on YouTube, and not Vimeo, not these other channels. It's YouTube only. Like that's got the social network aspect to it, and the algorithm. So got to be on there. That's why.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I don't know any other way to say it, honestly. In many ways, if you're not on YouTube, what are you doing? Back in the day, it used to be that you really needed to be blogging all the time, or writing articles for your blog all the time, which is still relatively true. Or if you're not updating your blog, you still got to be updating content in one form or another on your site. But the best kind of content on your site is rich media content. So being able to create a video and turn it into content on your website, like that's just magic gold for products. So
what percentage do you think, guys, of WordPress products companies are on YouTube?
Well, being on YouTube and utilizing YouTube are two different things, and that's
what percentage of products matter on YouTube?
Yeah, I don't know. Gravity Forums has been getting more into YouTube. Gravity Kit is on YouTube, and we produce videos like maybe once or twice a month, but we don't have a regular cadence. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, I think it would be tiny, right?
Yeah,
It would be
You think it's a small number?
I think it's a minute number.
Interesting. I wonder.
And do you think it's important for product owners to get their product to be on YouTube?
Well, just check out those stats that you just reeled off, Zach. Those were good stats, by the way.
Zach came prepared.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I think more and more, given what's going on in the industry and the search engine market, and how brands are gonna, I mean, distribution is the number one issue for most WordPress plugin companies. It seems like a massive opportunity. But there's not being used or tapped into, would be my sense of it.
Yeah, I do think this generation.
Even some of the top brands aren't doing this properly, by the way.
Well, be specific. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you just go if you go through some of the some of the big brands in the WordPress space, they're not necessarily really investing heavily in YouTube.
Yeah, I used to not be able to be on YouTube without seeing an Elementor ad or an Elementor video in one way or another, and I think that's actually really gone down a little bit. I don't think they're there as often as they used to be. Same with Divi, Elementor and Divi; those were the big ones I saw all the time. They have
really good channels. I mean, they have strong channels and they put out great content. So I would say those guys are almost the exceptions. I mean, also they're huge.
Yeah.
But below them, there's not a lot of stuff I see.
Yeah, Freemius does a really, really good job. I like their videos as well. They're doing really well. Matt Medeiros is now at Gravity Forms, and he's putting out some good content over there as well. Give has been on. We'll get to the story time later. We've been on YouTube for a long time, but like I don't know that we've ever really cracked the nut of doing it really well. But I think I think when it comes to like why these types of things matter so much, it's really so much because nowadays folks really want you to show, not tell. Like people want to see what's going on, and especially when it comes to products that they have to install or have to configure, they want to figure out whether or not they want to see the end result first before they even install it. It used to be back in the day with WordPress folks that you were just like, oh, just install it on any site that you like and play around with it and see if you like it. And nowadays it's like you install a random plugin on your site, you're going to break it. And so people are a lot more hesitant to just be installing plugins willy-nilly like they used to. So they much rather you show them what the end result is in a video before they even click that install button. So that's one of the big reasons why I say, especially when you have a freemium product and you're on .org in particular, right up at the top of your README, there's got to be a video that's showing folks exactly the benefit of your product.
So we're talking about some different content, I feel like. So Jamie, you had mentioned that you don't want to use the same content for your LMS for like getting started. Here's how to use the here are the settings we have, versus the YouTube content versus the introductory nature of the videos you might embed on WordPress.org. Like, Jamie, what kind of content are we supposed to be creating here? What are we talking about when it comes to like being active on you? Like, what would a good example of a WordPress product being active on YouTube look like in terms of the types of content they produce?
Do you mean as an example of somebody that's doing it well, or just?
Yeah, like what type of videos do you think would be an example of doing well on YouTube? Yeah,
I think well, if you take, it depends what your business goals are, right? As well for the channel. Like for I can only really speak for why I'm doing it. So I'm creating a lot of videos around Gutenberg because that's the focus of not so much my business. I'll tell you why I started it. I started it because I was a little bit fed up of people criticizing Gutenberg and saying what it couldn't do. And so I created some videos where I showed what was possible with it. So they're kind of like, and a lot of people have come up to me and said they've been inspired to try it because they've watched what's possible with it. Back to Matt's point of show don't tell.
Yeah, show don't tell. Yeah.
So rather than sitting there shouting at people, telling them they're wrong not to use this tool, just create a site and demonstrate what's possible with it. So I think you can put, like in my channel, I have different streams of the type of content I'm creating. Always has to be interesting, but some are like educational ones. They definitely are. They teach you how to do a certain thing. But I think with YouTube, you have to understand that a lot of people that are watching these videos aren't necessarily ever going to do the things you're watching. Right? Like I think a good analogy is a lot of people watch food programs. They're huge, right? But they'll never actually make the recipe, but they'll be inspired and they'll love the people that are, the cook that are showing them how to make this thing. And at some point they might buy their book, or they engender trust because they are demonstrating the ability to help them and create something cool for them, something useful and entertaining. I'm not answering your question at all, but I think it depends on what the business objectives of starting the channel are.
Yeah, I feel like your videos are almost like, what's the best way to say it? They're kind of like interest funnel videos. The people who are watching your videos are like, oh, that's so interesting. I can't believe he can rebuild this one famous homepage all with Gutenberg. That's amazing. And then they're like, what does this guy do? And they find out about your courses, and then they get interested. It's like, you're not doing videos about what you do exactly, but about a mutual interest of what you do. I don't know. That's how I've always seen it. Does that ring true?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
In some ways, that's why on the Give side, one thing that we have done regularly is what we call Give Live, which is like our monthly kind of like live YouTube show. And in that show, we're not talking about the plugin. We're talking about fundraising.
Yeah.
And we're trying to cast the net really wide. People might be fundraising in a million different ways. They may or may not be using Give at all, but if they're interested in fundraising, hopefully they're interested in the show. If they're interested in the show, hopefully they find out that we can help them with fundraising. So a little bit of that.
Yeah, and I think the difference between, it struck me when I went to Athens, WordCamp EU, the difference in engagement you get with video, but beyond anything I've ever known, like writing blog posts or whatever, the difference is extraordinary. I've been to these WordCamps for quite a few years, but pre-YouTube, and anonymous in the corner, nobody knew who I was. Within 5 minutes of stepping into the lobby, people were taking selfies, and they were, they were genuinely, it was kind of weird and embarrassing, but it was kind of strange experience. But it did bring home to me the power of the level of engagement you get with video on YouTube is just a magnitude above anything else. So the fact that Matt's doing stuff with Give on video, that's going to engender huge amounts of trust in the brand and the people behind the brand. And I think for me, trust is going to be probably the most important commodity that businesses are going to try and engender over the next year, 2 years, with everything that's happening around AI and having humans behind the story and being able to tell their stories through interesting content. I think that's what video gives you.
Zach, what's been your experiences so far with video? Has video changed the way you think about your business or your products in any way?
Yeah, my relationship with video is I'm a perfectionist to a fault, where I am a procrastinator perfectionist, where because I'm worried that it might not be perfect, I don't even start.
Yeah.
And so I have done so many recordings that are on my computer that are gigabytes in size. They're like, an hour long recording that I'm going to create the perfect how-to. I'm going to chop it into pieces. I'm going to put up little like placeholder images and segments and titles, and it's just going to be amazing. And it never gets done. So that's my personal experience with video, is that it's a great way for me to get obsessive in an unhealthy way that I have trained myself out of at different points in my career. But at the moment, I have a content coordinator named Casey who does great videos. And he doesn't seem to have the same hangups as I do. So that's really nice. So for product owners, hire somebody, contract out. People are on Fiverr. People are all over the place who are able to do this with you and for you if you are not feeling like you're able to. But Jamie, I had a similar experience where I launched Gravity View in 2014. Later that year, I paid Jonathan Mann, a songwriter, to create a music video for Gravity View, and that went as viral as it could in the WordPress community in 2014. Like, everybody who went to this conference that I attended knew about the music video, were singing it to me.
They wanted to do the WordPress wiggle. Come on.
Oh, well, yeah, the WordPress wiggle. Have you done the WordPress wiggle? It's a great.
I haven't done it. No.
Oh yeah, just wiggle. Yeah, WAPU will join you. So I
still remember it. It had a lasting impact on me and my children.
So, I've had moments of video being a great channel for awareness, but I haven't had the slow build that you've experienced, and I feel like that's been because of my own apprehension about the
but I think what you're talking about is it's not unique to you. It's probably the most common thing that's holding people back and from creating video. And I think that's why having some kind of vigor around consistency is hard, but also if you're gonna do it, then you have to be consistent. Otherwise, you have to give it 18 months before you kind of see any kind of decent results at it. That's my experience anyway.
And it sounds like you've had a pretty wild 18 months. Can you share some of your learnings and your experiences that you've had over that time?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the things about starting a YouTube channel is it doesn't end up where you think you're going to be. So it's become a bit, it's taken me to strange places in terms of, as Matt says, I'm now, he jokes about it, but I'm a YouTuber. And most people think I'm a YouTuber, but don't realize I'm a product business owner and a training business owner, which I'm kind of okay with now. But, it's got me to some. So last year, for example, I interviewed on the channel Matt Mullenweg, Matthias in December, Ventura, the lead architect, Rand Fishkin, who's been a hero of mine for years, who's the ex-CEO of Moz. WordCamp EU, I got to interview Joost. Matt put me on that. But
Mhm.
those things would never have happened unless I had a YouTube channel. Been on Matt Mullenweg's blog twice recently.
Mhm.
I've been in WP Tavern loads. I've been in Gutenberg Time loads. My Twitter following's like doubled over the last couple of years. Started a Facebook group. But this is all accelerated purely because of YouTube, nothing else. It's all because of YouTube and creating content. So it's been a bit of a wild ride, really. And now in, I think it was November, YouTube generated more revenue for me than my product business.
Wow! Congratulations on that
Nice.
crossover.
Well, it wasn't
amazing.
planned at all.
Yeah.
But then you start thinking, well, that's interesting. And now I'm talking to some folks about helping them with their YouTube channels, which is a whole different, that's a whole different opportunity. So it's kind of an interesting point where I've got to with the whole thing.
I want to push back a little bit because, like you said earlier, how many products actually are doing YouTube in general?
Yeah.
And then how many of them actually do YouTube in a way that matters at all? It's not just YouTube. Like YouTube is an amazing distribution channel for sure, but it rewards great content. And so I think you're successful because you have really great content and you happen to distribute that content on YouTube. I just want to make sure like you're doing great work. You're doing really great work. And great work is rewarded by these followers and these views and the right kind of attention. That's a really important key, honestly. Like one side, I want to give you the praise that's due, Jamie, for sure. And the other side, I want folks to know, like, it's not if you build it, they will come. Like, and I don't think you're trying to say that either. You're not saying make a YouTube channel and then everybody flocks to your door. But you do really have to be able to dial in the right kind of content for the right kind of audience, or else you're just like speaking to the wind, right?
Yeah. And there are some people doing that, and you could advise them pretty quickly on how to change tack so they get more engagement with their channels. Some fairly big brands as well. So
yeah, you keep not mentioning their names.
I'm not going to do that.
I keep trying to pull it out. Like, oh, what do you mean? Can you be more specific?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. But they're investing in it, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's frustrating actually because I'd love to. Part of me would just love to do that full time for folks. But anyway, that's a different. That's a different conversation.
Just a great praise over here, real quick from Anne.
Hey, Anne.
Very fond of your authenticity, Jamie, for sure. Thanks for being here, Anne. We got a couple of folks. Stephanie Hudson's here also. She's going to be a guest in a few weeks. Thanks for being here, Stephanie. So keep the comments coming, folks. We're happy to answer them. Sorry, Zach.
Oh, that's all right. I lost my thread there. But Jamie, in terms of best advice for new product owners, so we talked about building, being consistent, building having a good message and that feels exciting and authentic to you. What's your best advice for somebody who's just getting started with this topic?
What, that they're planning to have a YouTube channel?
Or if they have one and it's just sitting vacant, they're trying to activate it.
I'd come up with a plan. Well, just a plan, really, a publishing plan. Come up with, when I started this off, I was worried about content ideas, like what was I going to actually produce. So don't worry too much about that. So when I started, I have like 2 videos in I have a fairly rudimentary process. I have a spreadsheet with all the ideas. If I have an idea, I put it in the spreadsheet, and then the ones that I really like bubble up to the top of that. And when I started, I had like 2 or 3 ideas. I think now I've got like, I can't remember, 280 ideas on the go of videos I would love to make. They're not just crappy ideas. They're videos that I think would be really exciting. So that's a really interesting that happens, that the more you do, the more creative it's like a creative muscle that you get. You suddenly start to think of more and more ideas that you can, great ideas that your audience would like. So I think that's why having a really vigorous, we're going to do a cadence of 2 videos a week, regardless. We're not going to, Zach, we're not going to worry about whether they're perfect. They definitely won't be perfect. There's never a video I've done where I haven't, after an hour of hitting publish gone, I wish I'd done that. So I would have a vigor around that, and then it's just doing it. I think there's a lot to be said just for not overthinking it and doing it, because actually the plan and the model will get there as you start to create more and more content. But you have to say, I'm going to do this for, I think, 2 years, really. It's a big investment of time and money, obviously, but I think you have to have that commitment to do it. And actually, a lot of that stuff will just, once you make that commitment, a lot of the learning will happen naturally because you've just committed to that process. And you'll find what processes work for you. So for me, I get all my ideas in the afternoon, late evening. I just have quite a strict process. I know I can only shoot videos from like 5 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning, because that's when my brain is firing best. It'll be different for everyone, but it's all about having the vigor of, this is what you're going to do. And I think the rest kind of, it sounds a bit glib, but the rest kind of just fills in as you learn more, you put a framework in place, which might be hook and then payoff and that. You find what your audience likes, but really it's about just committing to it and having a process. That would be my biggest bit of advice.
Love it.
When you say audience, are you talking for product, for my product, for example?
Yeah.
Would we be talking to our existing customers? Would we be talking to, we build add-ons that enhance Gravity Forms, so would we be talking to Gravity Forms? Would we be talking to the WordPress community at large? Who are we?
Well, I would
who do you
probably,
recommend
if I was
talking to?
consulting with you,
Yes.
and I'm available for hire. I would think of it a bit like a fire, that you start fairly niche within the people that you already know, and then you start to try and grow out naturally from that niche that you started with, and then you build upon that sort of. So the algorithm starts to know, well, this is Zach's people, but actually he's gone a bit broader here. He might have a case study of somebody that's, a photographer out in the field that's making a video about a fantastic workflow where he's got his Fuji camera and he's taking it, he's uploading it through Gravity Forms, and it's appearing in a beautiful query loop block on a WordPress website, which is actually a video I'm working on. And then you kind of broaden out the scope of what the channel is starting to do. So that would be my advice. Start with your existing audience that you know really well, and then start to grow the circle of that.
Very
Interesting.
cool.
I like it. We do have one question here from Anne also. She says, do you find you could easily connect with people in the community? I think what she's saying is, does doing this help you connect more with the WordPress community? You actually talked about that a little bit earlier, how now folks see you and they think Jamie from YouTube, basically. It definitely is a big connector for sure.
It's incredible. Yeah. So, like I tweeted Matthias pre-Christmas and had an interview lined up within a week. I mean, it's, had an interview lined up within a week. So, which again, is do you know the most amazing thing he told me, which was, some of the videos I've done is me and my daughter, where I set her a challenge give her a challenge to do in Gutenberg. And actually one of them was, I gave a cadence and I gave her a block theme, and I gave her 10 tasks to do. Like add a logo to cadence, add a logo to a block theme. 10 fairly simple things. And she really struggled with the block theme. Cadence she was pretty cool with. And then I got feedback from Matthias that said the development team watched that video and they kind of found it really interesting and useful. And which is that's an incredible thing, right? That my daughter doesn't really know WordPress might be responsible for affecting a piece of software that's used by 42% of the internet. I mean, it's just
absolutely,
it's just like profound,
absolutely
incredible. But I'm not sure I answered the questions. So outreach is like, you can approach pretty much anyone now and set up conversations. Which is great for all sorts of reasons. It's great for getting information in, so you create more interesting content, and people know they can contact me if they're building cool stuff. So it adds value to the channel.
Yeah.
It's also pretty easy to network if I'm trying to actually make some money out of the channel for
Yeah.
small stuff.
A funny anecdote: when I was first really getting in deep in WordPress, I ran a Facebook group called Advanced WordPress, and that was like a big part of how I invested in the community at the time. But Give was my identity, you know.
Yeah.
I went to a word camp. I think it was Orange County or LA. I'm not sure, and some people came up to me really excited, like, "Oh my gosh, Matt Cromwell!" I was like, "Yeah, hi," and they're like, "From the Advanced WordPress group, right?" And I was like, "I
Yeah.
wish you knew me from Give, because that's what matters." But that's the impact that social media has on folks, and that I'm like dating myself. That's like way back in the day, and now all the hip kids like Jamie do YouTube stuff. But maybe, hopefully, one day they'll be like, "From WP Product Talk," right? No, but that definitely is a big impact.
So, old man Cromwell, what is your best advice for new product owners?
Yeah, absolutely. My best advice is to do what we are doing. I'm like the opposite of Zach. I want to just do something and ship it, and not care about it. Um, I I think doing things live is the easiest, quickest way to get content out there. But the biggest consideration is you have to make sure that you get folks live who know how to have a good conversation. And that's what I've been so thankful and fortunate about with our WP Product Talk. Is like I just reach out to folks who I talk with all the time from work camps and things, and they're all like, "Yeah, I'll join the show," and they're great conversationalists. That's why I reached out to Zach. That's why I reached out to Katie and Amber. Like, we get smart folks who have really diverse and interesting experiences all in the same room having a conversation, and everybody wants to listen in on that conversation. It's interesting. It's engaging. You don't get this kind of content in any other way, really. So if you can, because the things like we use Restream. There's also Steam Yard, I think it's what it's called. Um, these things
StreamYard, I
make
think.
this kind of, or StreamYard, thank you. They make these kinds of videos really nice looking and slick and smooth and easy to set up, and just run it, do it, and be done, and it goes live. So that would be my best advice. Start there, and once you start getting like kind of a vibe and an ethos, or like like a stream of topics and things like that, maybe you might start doing some more recorded things. Tangentially, we also kicked off a new kind of sub series in WP Product Talk. We've only done one of them, but I have a second one up in mind already. We're just calling it WP Product Talk Yay or Nay. And it's like asking a yes or no question on different subjects. Me and Katie last week or so did uh, onboarding wizards on plugin activation, yes or no. And it was a fun conversation. So, and that only came about because we're asking questions about products in general, and folks are trying to talk about it. And
Sounds like a very short conversation, Matt. It was just a yes.
I mean, they're only 10 minutes instead of like 45. But
Yeah, I like that. I like that format.
yeah.
Why did you guys start? Matt? Why did you start this? What was the reason?
It was really literally because I have had so many really high quality conversations at WordCamps, with Jamie, with Zach, with Katie, and I felt like that they are valuable and that they should be happening more in the public. And I was like, I can make a space where we can all have these conversations together, and everybody can learn from them. I do get folks regularly asking me how I do the things I do with Give and at Stellar WP in general and things like that. And I'm like, I can spend hours of my time talking with individuals about those types of things, or I can just like
Yeah.
democratize all of this information for everyone. And I see the value of doing a YouTube content no matter what. I started actually with Kim Coleman from Paid Memberships Pro, and she's amazing and great. And
Yeah.
we started on Twitter Spaces because it was also so easy. You just jump on your phone and you hit go, and it records, and then you can download it and do whatever you like with it. And those were really fun, engaging conversations. And it's a very different environment when you can't see each other, and you're just talking. It's like a really like engaging phone call in many ways. And I kind of miss the Twitter Spaces days a little bit. But the YouTube stuff has definitely been a lot more fruitful for us overall, I believe, and has given us a lot stronger way to do the podcast channels as well. So, yeah.
And to wrap up our best advice section, my advice is to hire somebody. I love good videos, and it stresses me out to no end. So if you are able to work with somebody else who enjoys that and that's their bread and butter, and have them do it and sign off on it. I'm a lot more forgiving on other people's video content. So when, even if there are tweaks I would make, I'm like, well, I didn't have to do this. Put it on YouTube, make it live. This is great. I'm so happy that it exists. So if you're finding it hard to get started, see if you can work with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And hire Jamie. That's my other best advice. Jamie is apparently now a YouTube consultant.
Almost. Close. News coming.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, tell the world where can they find you and where can they hire you and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at PootlePress, and then on YouTube, Google WordPress Jamie. That's probably enough.
WordPress Jamie.
Yeah.
Or Jamie Marsland.
No, just Jamie WP actually is my official moniker now. And then at pootlepress.com, did I say that? Yeah, those are the kind of the best places. Or just Google WordPress block themes and you'll find me somewhere on the internet as well.
Also true. Where are you offering your video services?
That's at pootlepress.com. And then in the footer, there's a little sponsorship label. Click on that and you'll see the current rates for. So at the moment, I'm doing pre-rolls. We're kind of booked up for a few months, but so at the start of every video now, there's a little pre-roll. At the moment, it's GoDaddy sponsoring. Got a few other folks lined up, but there's some other opportunities for sponsored videos. I don't do many of these sponsored videos. In fact, Matt, we did a website recreation one a while back, which was lots of fun.
It was.
This is where brands challenged me to recreate a famous website with their products, which is it's one of the streams I have on my site.
Yeah.
And then on there's also some rates for consultancy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I should look that one up. Jamie recreated the charity water donation page with Give and Cadence WP. It was pretty cool. Slick. Cool. Well, next week we are going to have Ben Gabler on the show from Rocket.net. I'm excited about that. He's a founder of Rocket, and he's really passionate about customer experience, just like I am. So it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to that. Zach, you going to send us off?
Yeah. Special thanks to Post Status for being our green room, where we coordinate these shows. If you're enjoying WP Product Talk, please do us a favor. Hit like, subscribe, share it with your friends, reference this show in your newsletters, subscribe to your podcast player using your podcast player. And most of all, we hope to see you next week. Thank you and bye.